As the month of October begins to move toward November, we're starting to run out of fall across especially the northern part of the Great Plains region. And the way November, at least the early part of it, is starting to look, well, we're seeing definitely the weather cooling down, but we're not seeing a sudden transition into wintry type temperatures. That can happen into at least the northern plains around Halloweenish. There have been a number of years where suddenly a day that's really anything above the 30s in North Dakota and northern Minnesota is a good day. But I'm not seeing it get that cold. We're getting the occasional round of 2 or 3 days of chilly weather, but we're not seeing cold weather consistently moving in. As far as the next 2 weeks go, which wraps up the end of October and goes into the first few days of November, a lot of the region, northern plains, upper Midwest-wise, Great Plains really, is getting fairly dry. And I really see one significant chance at that good fall soaker. And I'll show you that coming up in just a minute. This is the U.S. Drought Monitor this week, and over the West, of course, has been dry for several years. We've been seeing here this summer, and especially second half of summer and into the fall months, much of the Great Plains starting to show up as between anywhere from moderate to severe, and in a few spots, extreme drought. Now, you get down in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, you can get rain in the wintertime and get some rainfall onto that winter wheat, and by the time you get to springtime, situation sometimes isn't so bad. Of course, drought can get worse, but in the northern plains, once you hit freeze up, you just aren't going to change the moisture in the soil very much. And oftentimes, even if you get a deep winter snowpack over the northern plains, a lot of that moisture tends to run off. So if we don't get moisture before we get to the freeze part of the season, we're going to need to get timely rains in the spring. Now, with this curvy Q jet stream starting off right here at the start of this first week, one wave is going to get kicked out, and that one will bring up the possibility of some significant moisture into some parts of the northern plains, southern Canada area. I'll show you that in just a minute. After that, looks fairly dry. The weather will continue to be fairly seasonal. I don't see any grand cold air intrusions. Following that one storm early this first week, there will be another brief cool snap into the northern plains. That air will then essentially retreat, leaving us with a seasonally cool weather across the north and seasonally mild weather in the deep south across the region. As we head into the second week, still not seeing that massive intrusion of cold air, though I'm starting to see some sub-zero weather show up west of Hudson Bay. My best guess is here for the best chance of significant moisture this first week, showers and thunder showers in the eastern part of the Corn Belt. The second week of the period looks generally fairly dry.